All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the fourth quarter town hall meeting for Easton Park. Some of you may know me if you were able to join us for the last one. My name is Matt Chase. I'm the Regional Vice President for Community Life. And, over at the last quarter meeting, we discussed a lot of changes that occurred. We moved from Associa over to Community Life, and during that transition, the decision was made for Larry not to move as well. And so over the last few months, we've been looking for a new leader out at Easton Park, and we found her. Her name is Christy Gross, and with the new individual is also a title change, so from community manager to executive director. So I'd like to introduce Christy Gross, who is actually going to lead us through the town hall this evening.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. And as Matt said, my name is Christy Gross. Hopefully you were able to catch up in the last newsletter that was shared on December 1st. There was a little information about me in case you missed it. I did start with the team on December 1st. I have a pretty extensive background with community association management, and just really looking forward to continuing to immerse myself in the Easton Park operations and get very familiar with the very unique and wonderful features that we have here in our community. So I want to encourage you all. I know that we're in a pandemic, and this presents, not always an opportunity for us to engage face to face. But if you find yourself out towards the union or you're coming in to work out, stop by and say hello. I am here Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and I'd love to grab a cup of coffee with you, maybe some tea, and we can just sit and chat. So feel free, come by anytime. So this evening, we have a pretty full list of topics to cover for you. These town halls are held quarterly, and in case you haven't attended before, I'm going to recap for you how this is going to go, and then we can get started. Hopefully you recall receiving a notification to submit your town hall questions ahead of tonight. We received 30 or so very great questions. So some were unique and some were inquiring on the same topic. So at the conclusion of this community and development update, we're going to review those questions and answer those. During this meeting, you're also welcome to use the chat feature in order to submit more questions. And as questions are submitted, you're going to be able to vote on those that you see on your screen. That helps us to prioritize those questions so that at the very end of this meeting, we go over those and we get to just as many as we can. And we found this is just the best way to achieve that. So please remember, if you've submitted your question, but it doesn't appear that we've addressed it for some reason, hopefully that's not the case. But if that is the case, please reach out to us. Don't wait for the next town hall. Contact your community live team, myself, and the team here, and we'll be happy to help you with everything. So just quickly, after the introductions, then we're going to have a community update. We're going to have an update from Colette on our community engagement. We're going to hear from Matt McCafferty regarding the development update. We're going to get to those submitted questions and then additional Q&A at the end. So I wanted to provide even more introductions into the folks that are attending this meeting tonight. And we have with us Brookfield Properties Development Team. So our division president for Brookfield for Texas is Brad Shelton. And also members of the development team, but serving as board members for Easton Park Master Community are Scott Turner, the president, Matt McCafferty, Vice President of the Board of Directors, Blake McAllister, Treasurer, and Paige Camel, Secretary. So these folks, while they are members of the development team, they also, when it's necessary, they take off that development team member hat, they put on their HOA Board of Directors hat, and then they make decisions as a board on behalf of the association that is your community. Then DMB Community Life team starts with Matt Chase. He is who opened our meeting tonight. He's our vice president. And then your Easton Park on-site team. That includes myself, as well as Colette, our director of community engagement, John LaRoque, our facilities manager, and Angela Jackson, our architectural control coordinator. So each of these folks, we all have a very specific role within Easton Park. Our developer, which is Brookfield, they have the vision for Easton Park. They've created the Easton Park master plan and the layout and the amenities for the community. They are installing that infrastructure. So they're installing the streets, the curbs, the utilities, the landscaping, those amenities, and then they have formed an association to maintain all of that. They work with legal counsel in order to create governing rules and guidelines that will protect the Easton Park's aesthetics and assets, and then also determine timing of installation of those amenities. So that's what your developer of Easton Park is doing. Then we have those board of directors. Our board of directors, again, they are members of the development team until we reach a point where a majority of homes are sold to owners, and then we begin to transition those board seats to being filled by residents. So the board of directors, no matter who's serving on the board, is always going to be the body that approves the budgets and the contracts for the community. They determine the assessment rates. They maintain common areas. They also are responsible for enforcing the rules and for making policies, as well as establishing committees. Now, that's a full-time job in and of itself, right? Which is why a board of directors engages with a community life team in order to make sure that those operations are handled consistently, timely, and on a daily basis. So in the green bubble here, myself and Colette, John, Angela, your community life team, we are corresponding with residents regarding community life matters. We are overseeing Easton Park's financials and performance accounting processes. We prepare the annual budget for board approval. We inspect those common areas that were installed by the developer, and we provide oversight of the board selected vendors. We also facilitate the covenant enforcement process. We facilitate the architectural controls processes, and we manage the union operations, as well as work with the board and the developer on the successful transition of the amenities and community landscaping. So again, once those things are initially installed, provided to Easton Park by the developer, they're turned over to the association for maintenance and management, and that's where we come in. Now, I wanted to include Travis County because we did receive a number of questions regarding our roads, street signage, speed limits, etc. And I think it's very important that we call out that Travis County is actually, they are the ones maintaining our roads now. So now that they've been installed, they are public streets, and Travis County maintains our roads, street signage, speed limits, additional crosswalks if needed, bike lanes, etc. Okay. So here is a snapshot of our 2021 budget. This has been approved by the board, and we are projecting total income of $959,000 for 2021. Our expenses, we've summarized into these expense categories. That includes utilities of $174,500, common area maintenance and supplies of $633,000, taxes, insurance, professional fees, services. It's a big category there to summarize, but we expect an expenditure of just over $1 million. And then the union facility maintenance and repair contingencies of 1.8. And then we are budgeting transfers from our operating account into the reserve account, which is a savings account, in order to prepare for big ticket replacement and repair needs down the road. So we are planning a transfer to the savings account of $96,000. So total expenses we project to be at $2 million, leaving us a net deficit of $1 million. So with that being said, our assessments currently for 2020 have been at $50 a month. We are going to be increasing those to $52.50 a month, so an increase of $2.50 a month. By now, you've received a postcard about that. And so, yeah, so some of the questions that we receive around the financials are, how are the assessment amounts determined, and should we expect a dues increase in the future? And in short, yes, we should expect a dues increase. So there's a very good reason for that. You should expect that the dues will increase between 1 to 5% each year. And that's so that we can ensure the association is going to meet its financial obligations well into the future after our developer is no longer here. So also another question I get asked sometimes is, somebody's curious about how the dues are determined at the start of a community and when there's basically not much on the ground yet. And to know that, we start with putting together what we call a build out budget. So this is where we project what we think the expenses are going to be once the community is completely built. And this is a guide for where the assessment should start. Then over time, we adjust with incremental increases so that we can, again, meet those obligations each year. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Colette, and she is going to give us an update on community engagement.
All righty. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Community engagement, we've done a lot of great events this year. And I think the one that we had probably the most decent nights at was our trailer treat. And at trailer treat, we had almost 200 residents out that night. And if you have not had the opportunity to check out the pictures yet, make sure that you go onto Neighbor Network and go into the gallery and check out all the pictures and the great costumes and really all of the fun that we had that night, especially with the fact that we had over 30 residents volunteer to be part of that event, either with the setup or actually participating in the event itself. In addition, we threw a picture in there from our Music in the Park. Music in the Park has been a great event this year. I definitely want to give a shout out to a couple of residents who have made it even better event and helped us secure many of the acts, which is Stephen Nicole Moss. So that if you see them around, definitely give them a shout out as well. We have continued with our food trucks. And our food truck, we do our every first Friday food truck as we have since its inception. And we're also have added in our Taco Tuesdays and our Sweet Sundays, and Bougies has been coming out for that. And then we have one of our youngest Eastonites there at the bottom. We just did a Deck the Union event. If you have not been in the Union recently and you want to come and check out all of our Christmas decorations and our, I would say 90% decorated resident tree, definitely come to the Union and check that out. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the events that we have coming up in December. So if you are a new homeowner and you still have some questions and haven't had the opportunity to attend new homeowner orientation, that's going to be on December 15th, along with our Taco Tuesdays. And then, right after that, we have our delivery driver appreciation. That's at the end of this week or in the next week. And if you don't know what that is, it is an opportunity for us to really show our delivery drivers who are essential workers how much we appreciate them. I know I see a number of delivery drivers in Easton Park. And residents can buy a $5 sign to make sure that drivers know to stop by the Union on the 17th and 18th, and they get to pick up a little treat for them from Easton Park. And right after that, we have our holiday house hunt. So our holiday house hunt is, we want everybody to get out and see all the decorations. And I have seen some great ones thus far, but I bet there are going to be even more coming up. So during the holiday house hunt, you get to go around, take a bingo card, and actually mark off all of the decorations that you see. We'll let residents send in their card, and then we'll have a drawing for those who complete the card. So can't wait to see all of your bingo cards from that night, and then or from those nights. And then last but not least, our Sweet Sundays with Bougies is on the 20th. So definitely order some donuts from Bougie's Donuts. They're some great options and some interesting flavors that they have out there. And now I am actually going to turn this over to Matt McCafferty, our Director of Land from Brookfield Properties Development Team.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. So really what I want to kind of talk on is Kiki Park, which is one of the newest communities that we've added to Easton Park. And I believe we've even had our first homeowner closings within Kiki Park, and really walk through what is the landscaping and park improvements that are going on throughout Kiki Park right now. So if you go on to the next page. So Kiki Park will consist of one larger scale park as well as a few smaller scale pocket parks. This is our schematics of the larger, well, the previous slide, if you could go back, was a schematic of the larger scale playground equipment. So it will have areas for younger toddlers as well as older children to kind of go and enjoy the area around the pond over there. If you want to go to the next, within each of our communities that we bring on, we will typically find or try to have a way to have multiple activated green spaces. So within Kiki Park, we have a couple of different activated green spaces. And you'll notice if you are within Skyline Park, we've recently been under construction of adding in some swings, some sitting areas, some playground equipment. So we'll continue to do this throughout each new community and neighborhood that we bring on. We will try to add not just pocket parks, but also a little bit larger gathering spaces. If you want to go on to the next page. And so these are just some schematics of the landscaping and parks that are either currently installed or under installation. The last piece that I wanted to touch on, if you go one more, was you may have seen a lot of activity behind Collins Elementary School. So what's going on behind Collins is the next community, which is called Discovery Park. So for our future homeowners, this will provide additional opportunities. And then for our current residents, this will continue Hillock Terrace all the way through to punch out to William Cannon. And that is part of this development plan, as well as improving Finial Drive out. So those are some of the aspects that will be nice for the overall development, as well as, again, you can see the green spaces and trail systems that will continue to be added throughout the community. So I'm going to turn it back over to Christy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So now we're going to move into those submitted questions that were submitted prior to tonight. And so we have some up on the screen. These fall in the community engagement category, starting with, are there any opportunities to add holiday decorations throughout the development, including mailbox clusters and street signs? And so we actually budget every year for holiday decorations. And this year we've met that budget. So that didn't leave us any opportunity right now to add any additional decorations at mailbox clusters. Doesn't mean that we won't in the future, but we do, when engaging with installers, we do look for commercial grade lights and decorations and make sure that those are professionally installed. Next question was, how do we start a neighborhood watch? So we heard from a couple of people about this. The Community Life team here has reached out to Travis County Sheriff's Office in order to have them conduct for us a virtual community safety training, and for them to provide information on how you guys, the residents, can start a neighborhood watch. We have this scheduled. So this is actually scheduled for January 12th of 2021. So please stay tuned. There's going to be an announcement soon about details on how to attend. I do want to note, this is our third attempt in order to host this training with the Sheriff's Office. And the first two were very poorly attended. So we want to have a good showing for this one and get that going. So next question was that with current social distancing requirements and event capacity restrictions, how does the association plan to continue to offer events? What changes might we see to the types of events being planned? It's a great question. I don't think any of us ever expected would be where we are. in March versus December of this year. So we are constantly adjusting and reevaluating what's working and what's not, so that we can continue to bring very top-notch events to this community. And we are still providing an average of 5 events per month. One way residents of similar interests can meet up is through clubs and committees that we're organizing. And if you'd like to do this, the Community Life team would love to assist you. So in addition, we will be expanding our committee opportunities in 2021. And if you'd like to participate, please stay on the lookout for more information. Next question was, are there any plans for a farmers market? We love this idea. The Community Life team is absolutely open, and we suggest that the best way to go about this is to create a club around this so that we can utilize that club to bring this farmers market to Easton Park. There's a lot of time and work that goes into that, and that's why a group of people that are committed to doing that is probably the best approach to that. So we'd love to get that going for y'all. Will we get to see the results of the livability survey? Someone asking a question had actually referred to it as the Community Life Survey. It's the real name of it is the Livability Survey, and the answer is yes. We definitely want to share those results, and those are going to be coming out in Q1 of 2021. Okay, so continuing on with questions specific to your association's operations, we had the question of when will we elect homeowners to the HOA board? I touched on this in the beginning of this presentation whenever I was introducing the board of directors. Right now, as I said, your board are members of your development team. State statute, as well as the Easton Park governing documents, dictate when this board is going to begin its transition to homeowner control. We know for Easton Park, because of the size it's going to be, we expect that to be several years from now. Our developer has quite a bit of work to do in order to continue to build out our community and grow our residents' assets. But don't wait. Don't wait for those opportunities for a board transition in order to get involved. Definitely, there's ways to do that now. The pandemic has slowed down some opportunities for now, but stay tuned for volunteer needs in the near future. Those needs could be things like serving on the architectural committee, volunteers for certain event or club organization, as well as other committees that will be established as the needs arise. Your involvement now means that you're going to be ready to serve on that board later on, or make an informed decision or vote on your neighbors when deciding who is going to serve on that board later. So the next question here was, what can be done to reduce speeding down the streets? And this was another one that we had touched on at the beginning of the presentation, and that falls with Travis County. So speed enforcement lies with the sheriff's office, as our streets are public and speed is not governed by the association. We encourage you to reach out to law enforcement and request speed monitors be placed in order to deter speeding. Travis County Sheriff's Office will be more motivated to increase enforcement in this area if many residents are reaching out to them on a regular basis. So the non-emergency number for the Travis County Sheriff's Office can be found on their website. We really encourage you to reach out. Next question was, where can I find the community rules regarding parking? We received this and other questions related to the current rules, indicating that our residents are curious about what the rules are. It is important to us that this information is always available to you. Thus, we have this available and posted on the Easton Park, the Neighbor Network site. So you're going to log in at the Neighbor Network site, eastonpark.neighbornetwork.com. We send this out in our pulse information, the weekly pulse, as well as the monthly newsletter. So log in there. You're going to go to the resources tab, and then from there, go to governing documents. There, you're going to be able to find rules specific to living in this community. Next question was, if I have a suggestion regarding changing a current community rule, what's the process for submitting that? So we heard from a handful that with suggestions for changing current rules, and we appreciate that feedback and suggestions. The board would be the one to consider are those. Rarely, though, I've seen a board edit or revise existing rules, as they must consider the impact on the current and the future residents of this community when doing so. But that being said, you can continue to inquire and provide your feedback by reaching out to your community life team. What we do is take that feedback and we roll that up to your board of directors for their consideration. And so don't let what I said deter you. Definitely, if you have feedback for us regarding current rules, let us know. Next question was, can security patrols be added to the budget? So at this time, there is no plan to add security patrols to the budget. We encourage owners to rely on local law enforcement when appropriate. So for instance, most people don't know this, Travis County offers something called a close patrol. The service is provided to residents upon request with the purpose of checking on your residents while you're out of town or for situations requiring checks for safety reasons. So to inquire further, you'll just reach out to the Travis County Sheriff's non-emergency phone number listed on their website. I myself have done this as a homeowner. I've reached out when I knew I was going to be on an extended vacation and I just wanted those eyes on my home every now and then, and they were very accommodating. I requested a close patrol and they said, absolutely, what's your address? What are the dates you're going to be gone? And it was that easy. So I see we've got another question here. There you go. Okay, so this is a great question. Please explain the Xeriscape rule and stated 10% limit on certain materials. So I threw up two pictures here because I thought it was important to understand the difference in some of the aesthetic that, you know, and some people's belief around what is xeriscaping. So xeriscaping, by definition, is the practice of designing landscapes to reduce or eliminate the need for irrigation. So this means xeriscaped landscapes need little or no water beyond the natural climate, what the natural climate provides. So some people would be surprised to know that picture on the left where you see the lush green grass and plants, that is a xeriscaped landscaping design right there. Sometimes whenever we think about xeriscaping, we think more about what that picture on the right, while that's also very beautiful, it doesn't look like Easton Park, does it? It doesn't looks like some parts of Central Texas, but it doesn't fit into the aesthetic that we have going here at Easton Park. So we do have a rule in place, and the rule is that xeriscaping, is allowed and it can be achieved with the use of drought-tolerant native plants, soil amendments, and mulch. There's not a limit on those things at all. It just must be aesthetically compatible with the other landscaping within the community, which the picture on the left is more in line with that. The guideline does state that there is a 10% limit on rocks, gravel, and cacti. So again, you can see the picture on the left. We've got accents of gravel and rock and probably some cactus in there. The picture on the right is 100% that. And so that limit is just in place so that we can continue to uphold the aesthetic of the community. Okay. So our next question, these questions were specific to common area maintenance. Any update on the proposed recycling and trash bins at mailbox clusters? So at this time, there are no plans to actually add recycling or trash bins at mailbox clusters. Your board and your community life team will constantly reevaluate the need for that. So not to say those won't come later, but right now it's just not in the plan. What is the irrigation schedule for Union Park East? I thought we were only allowed to water the grass once a week in Austin, and it looks like it's being watered every night. Good question. So right now that Union Park East, for those that are unfamiliar with that section, this is the section that is kind of in front of the Union, that condominium section there. So there's a lot of new installation of landscaping that is happening right there, and that's what you're seeing is the increased watering for that landscaping install. When the construction is complete, the landscaping is established, and the irrigation schedule will then be rolled back to what the restrictions state for the City of Austin. City of Austin does allow for new installation of landscaping to have that increased water to help it get established. Next question was, when entering Colton Bluff from Hillock, it's tough to see over the grasses planted in the median. Can something be done about this? And love these suggestions. I'm sure you've noticed by now something was done about this. So when we get a question like that, we immediately go jump in the car and we go see for ourselves. What does that look like? What's the experience there? And we completely agreed. That was tough to look right and see oncoming traffic when trying to pull out from Hillock onto Colton Bluff. So the next day, the muley grass that was really tall in those medians was trimmed back. And what we learned also in the process was there's going to be modifications to Colton Bluff coming by Travis County, since they maintain the roads, in order to address additional traffic concerns and even install bike lanes. So we don't have a timeline on that. Again, that was news from Travis County, but there will be some modifications to Colton Bluff to further improve that street. Next question was, what are you going to replace the removed tree at the corner of Van Ness and Vista Major with? So this is something that's actually already happened as well. The mesquite tree that was there was removed because it was deemed hazardous. We couldn't keep that. And it was replaced with a live oak on Monday of this week. So that's already complete. Next question was, when will the pathway lights start working in Union Park West and the P be repaired in the sign? For those unfamiliar, Union Park West is actually located at the front of the community along McKinney Falls Parkway at Colton Bluff, and it is the condominium community there. So it is part of the Easton Park master community. However, they have a different builder or developer and a different management team. So for any maintenance needs or concerns, questions that are very specific to just Union Park West, we ask that you reach out to Associa. That is who is managing their association and all of those maintenance needs. The last question on this slide, will the HOA consider making traffic safety improvements to address the frequent driving onto medians, lack of speed limits and lighting, and improve the pedestrian crosswalks and painted crossing and lighting? So again, I bet if I were to ask everyone to say it together, we'd all say streets are maintained by Travis County, thus the association can't make any improvements to them. Those are great suggestions, actually. As tax-paying residents, you have the ability to suggest improvements. Thus, we recommend that you reach out to Travis County with those questions and comments regarding the roads. I think that'd be the best course there. Okay. And I think that, let's see, yeah, that brings us to the end of the community live questions. So I'm going to turn this back over to Matt McCafferty, member of Brookfield Development Team, where he is going to answer questions specific to the development and the infrastructure of the community itself.
Thank you. So kind of taking the first question, what future amenities are planned for the community? Playscapes, toddler-friendly playscapes, dog parks. The reality is apologize. So all of those items are all being considered as we're looking at the future. Kind of major amenities is what I would consider each of those items, with the exception of the playscapes in general, toddler-friendly playscapes in Skyline Park. I think from what we showed, that was that's going on in Kiki Park, and some of the improvements that were made within Skyline Park very recently, the community, not the park, you know, kind of shows a more shift into ensuring that the children of Easton Park have friendly places to go gather. How is the trail system for Skyline coming along? Will it connect to the rest of the trails for Easton Park? So yes, there will be connectivity throughout all of Easton Park and our trail systems. Those were in schematic design, and we are hoping to be able to achieve a building permit and start construction in Q2 of 2021. Any plans for a trail under the bridge over Cottonmouth Creek on William Cannon to connect Bryant Park and Nob Hill to the Union? So we are looking at the feasibility of this. It will not start, depending on the feasibility, it wouldn't start until William Cannon is completed. We will be starting construction of the last 2 lanes, making William Cannon a 4-lane road. Around Q2 to Q3 of next year, and it's looking to be a year-long project. So, so that improvement, if it is possible to create that connectivity at those at that bridge, that would not be done until following that. So who is the developer of the commercial site, and how will residents be informed of what is going to be built there and the timeline? So First Hartford is the developer of the commercial site. You know, the goal of the commercial is to begin to provide services and opportunities closer to the community. You know, while we are not the developer of that site or the owner of that site, we do stay in close communication with the group, and we'll provide updates as we receive them. I just recently received the final update, and everybody who's been on these calls for a while and talked about the CVS, I did finally get word that the CVS is looking to move forward and start construction by January of 2021. So so that is exciting. As far as all of the other stuff and any kind of rumors that go out there, there's a lot of different site plans that will get submitted, and that group is currently talking to a number of end users to occupy those spaces. Again, with the overall goal that they're going to continue to provide services and opportunities inside of the community. Let's see. When is the William Cannon extension going to open? So we just passed inspections today, and the county is coordinating with TxDOT to get the light activated on Tuesday of 12:15, and at that point they will officially open. Given the relationship with TxDOT and Travis County, you know, I feel that's the direction we're headed in, and that's going to happen. If there's any type of delay or we see any movement from that date, we will notify the HOA. Will Slaughter Lane eventually connect to the south side of Skyline? So Slaughter Lane is planned to run along the southern border between Thaxton Road and 183. And it is designed to have several touch points to the community, but the final plans, traffic, and configuration of that roadway has not been completed. Do we have neighbors that serve on the mud board, or does Brookfield have controlling interest in all seats? I'm very interested in running for office. So we don't have controlling interest in any seats. Please reach out to the district attorney, attend the district meetings if you have an interest in running for a board seat. Is there signage planned when you enter the development off of Sassman Road, turning onto Apogee Road? No, not at this time, given that Slaughter Lane's general alignment is looking to come in, and the lack of utilities. There's no signage or monumentation planned where Apogee ties into Sassman Road. Let's see. When can landscaping finish the tree line along William Cannon behind Beacon Knob Way? The line of trees starts with the first 3 houses, then it suddenly stops. So all the landscaping that's going to be along what will be the westbound lanes headed down William Cannon the final landscape will be designed and constructed once we finish the last phase of William Cannon. And then is there anything that can be done about the wild hogs that have been seen by the trails near the Union? So we've run trapping services in the past, and we'll definitely look at reinstating the trapping services that we had from the past.
Okay, so at this time, we've concluded with going over the questions that were submitted prior to tonight. We're going to be addressing those questions that have been submitted throughout this meeting, but we want to give everyone a moment to vote on those questions that you see in the live event Q&A window. And if you'll give it a thumbs up on those that you want to see answered first, that helps us to prioritize, and then we can get to those. So we are going to just give 60 to 90 seconds for y'all to be able to do that. It's going to appear to be quiet, but I guarantee you we're here. Okay, just a few more seconds. Okay, so we will start with those questions that had the most likes. So starting with, let's see. I'm sorry, let me sort this screen just one more time. When will the next major amenity be put in? So for a question like this involving infrastructure install, we're going to ask Matt McCafferty to answer that.
Yeah, so when will the next major amenity be installed? So currently, we are looking at the overall Skyline Park amenity complex, but the timing and those plans haven't come to any fruition to give any exact timing.
Okay. So then the next question we have is, will the large hilltop area in Skyline get developed, sorry, it disappeared, as a park, or will you share the plans for this park? Matt McCafferty, I'll let you answer that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know our team from the civil side is digging into that park. So that entire 25 acres is geared out to be parks. 25 acres is large. So we're kind of figuring out currently exactly how we're going to phase it and what amenities will be inside the first phases, as well as which sections of that park will be delivered within the first phases. we're hoping to be able to address, Skyline Park and those amenities in 2021.
Okay. So, Matt, our next question is, where exactly are the quote activated green spaces in Skyline Park?
So we went back in. There's a green space. I'm gonna get the streets wrong. So we just put in near one of the mailbox kiosks. We put in a swing set and kind of a light touch climb amenity, and then in a open linear park closer to Kiki Park, or on the way towards Kiki Park. We're activating that space with, again, a swing set, some sitting areas for adults and children to kind of sit around. And then we're continuing the progression of that thought process throughout Kiki Park.
Okay, great. Next question was, Travis County Road and Bridge has confirmed to some Easton Park residents that Colton Bluff Springs is maintained by the developer, and that they will not come out here to address anything until development is complete and the developer hands over maintenance to Travis County, who is in charge of maintenance of the roads around here. And I have a feeling, Matt, that we might be talking about maintenance of landscaping in those medians versus maintenance of the roads. So I'm not sure maintenance of which area. Do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the maintenance of the landscaping, so the HOA as well as with the developer. If you drive down McKinney Falls Parkway, at no insult to Travis County, but that is county landscaping. And so what we do is we sign a license agreement with Travis County to maintain the landscaping to the degree that it's installed within the county right away. However, that doesn't mean the roadways. The roadways are Travis County. They're inspected and accepted by Travis County and turned over to Travis County for maintenance.
Okay. So the next question was, I know Skyline will have a park and it will have plans. I'm curious as to also where they are with those plans. I hope this also gets mentioned. Thank you. So perhaps the timing.
So that's what I had just mentioned. So it's a large scale park, 25 acres. There's a lot of topography. So we're currently addressing the civil constraints within that park, and then determining what the first phase will look like, how big will it be, and what will be contained. And we are hoping to have plans to share in 2021.
Okay. So our next question, if a car is parking in the bike lane on Colton Bluff, can we call a tow truck to have those cars removed? So I'll take that. Those are public streets. I'm not sure that a tow truck will come out and enforce parking on a public street. Matt Chase or Matt McCafferty, do y'all have any experience around this area to add to this?
Yeah, I think you would have to call the sheriff's department to get a vehicle towed that's parked out on the streets.
Right. Our next question was Union Park East. There currently doesn't appear to be a sign. When will the park at the end of the linear park be done, and any lights planned for the trail or the neighborhood?
I think we're throwing it over to Matt McCafferty on this one.
Right.
Yeah, so we needed a building permit that got delayed through the city of Austin with the landscaping group to finish out the pavilion shade structure that was going to go along or at the end of that. They are set to be remobilizing here in January and hopefully finishing up within 30 to 45 days from mobilization.
Okay. So Brent asked, does the Xeriscape rule comply with Texas HOA law? I can confirm that yes, it does. The rule itself was written by an HOA specializing attorney that is very familiar with what statute allows an association to restrict with regards to xeriscaping. So yes, it does comply with law, and the rule itself is not very restrictive, except again for those 3 materials listed, cactus, rocks, and gravel. So our next question, can you explain the multiple systems/websites for paying HOA fees, including the differences for Union Park East? So with this, I'm going to need some help from Matt C. on answering this.
Yeah, so there should be a link on the Neighbor Network website to get over to pay online if you're using a credit card. That's really the only system other than if you would like to do ACH. If you'd like to do ACH, just reach out to our team and we'll provide that information over to you. And what's the difference between there isn't a difference for Union Park East. There is a difference for Union Park West. Union Park West is managed by Associa, and I did see a few questions come in about Union Park West for landscaping and how do they reach out to Associa. I believe Neighbor Network has that contact information on there, and Colette's shaking her head yes. So that information is on there, and you should be able to find it on the Neighbor Network website to get a hold of the community manager for Union Park West.
Excellent. Our next comment and question said, I am thrilled with the pocket parks popping up in Skyline. Thank you all so much for your hard work and making thoughtful additions to our community. I'm happy to have eager neighbors pushing for progress, but as a resident who's lived here since the start, I think you've all done an exceptional job in the last 5 years. Thanks. And that person submitted that anonymously, and we thank you as well. Thank you very much.
So Christy, if you scroll down a little bit, there were a couple that got some more votes that may have been skipped.
Yeah, I see that now.
Michelle.
Okay, perfect. So this question says, when will lighting be added to the trails? And Matt M., I'll turn that over to you.
So, I mean, I would have to get a more specific, I guess, on exactly where within the trails. We're not, the entirety of the trail system will not be a lighted trail system throughout Easton Park. If there's a specific segment of the trail or a specific location, you might be able to get with Christy or the HOA team, and we can take a look at that. But the overall trail system will not be a lighted trail system.
Okay. Ed asked, were the Easton Park plans agreed to and reviewed by the city of Austin? How can we have so many houses with no commercial development? I know we've been talking about commercial a lot, but Matt M., will you again just review for us, for the sake of this question, maybe some timing or what you know about that commercial development coming?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we do not, as the developer in the aspects of the project in which we control, have any commercial lands available. The commercial lands that are available through First Hartford, they're happy to be breaking ground on the CVS. And with regards to I guess the latter aspect of that, so our overall PUD is agreed to through City of Austin, and we will have aspects of commercial throughout Easton Park. It does take a lot of rooftops in order to activate those spaces. So as the community continues to fill out, those opportunities will come more prevalent.
Okay. So then we have our next question, and that is, How many homes will need to be completed before the community members will be part of the HOA board? How many homes have been completed so far? So Matt, C, I believe you have those numbers for me. Can you share that?
Yeah, I don't have them right in front of me, but I believe closings so far we're well over the 600 mark. And how many will need to be completed? We're several years away from that point occurring. Easton Park, in its entirety, for those of you that have been around for a while, we actually shared an overall plan, probably at one of the first or second town hall meetings, that showed some additional land that might be available that would be part of Easton Park as well. So you can have up to 10,000 homes within Easton Park, and we're around the 600 to 800 mark right now. So this community is going to be developing for many years to come, and we'll continue to evaluate that. That doesn't mean 20 years from now is when the first resident board member will be added to the board. I can almost guarantee that the developer team members don't want to sit on the board for all that time, and they want to be able to start handing some of this stuff over and the responsibility over to the residents. But we are still a ways out. We'll get this question every town hall, and we'll be happy to answer it every town hall as well. And there's going to be opportunities for residents to be able to be much more involved in the future. I don't want to blame COVID, because I think that's an easy crutch. But we, as DMB Community Life, are going to be bringing forward some leadership opportunities within the community. It's a really cool program that has worked well in other associations that we're going to be bringing out to Easton Park to develop those future resident leaders within the community. And that's a program that we're hoping will live on through the entirety of Easton Park. And we have committees that are coming up. Architectural committee is around the corner. We were hoping to start that this year. But again, COVID hit us in March when we were going to announce it at that first quarter town hall, so we had to put a pause on it. So there are going to be a lot more opportunities for the residents to be able to be more involved with the association.
Excellent. Okay, we've got just a handful of questions left. One is, has the cost of lumber influenced the pace or growth in Easton Park home construction? Some builders seem to be moving much faster than others. And Matt, M, I'll let you take that.
Very similar to, I would say, the comment about commercial. The market demand really dictates pace, any price appreciation. It dictates uses. It dictates growth. So has the cost of lumber been, influenced our home builders out in Easton Park? I'm sure. But ultimately the market is the market, independent of where those costs move. So we've been happy to see the success that our builder partners have had and continue to have throughout Easton Park.
Great. Okay, next question. Is there any plan to put a stoplight where the stop sign into Nob Hill is? There seems to be some almost wrecks there happening on a regular basis.
Is this? I'm waiting for it to switch back. So yeah, we conduct warrant studies out there for all of our intersections for Easton Park. That's part of the development phase for any new subdivision plan sets. Because of COVID and because William Cannon was delayed until very recently, hopefully as early as next week, in its opening, we did not, through our work with the county, we have not conducted that warrant study. As soon as William Cannon opens, we will be conducting a traffic warrant study. As soon as the traffic warrant counts state that a light is needed, we will be putting a light in connection with Travis County, up at that intersection of Colton Bluff and William Cannon.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Matt M., another question. Do you know if there are any plans for additional or more green space in Union Park West?
In Union Park West, I'm not positive about any additional green space within Union Park West, I guess, for the given development. For Meritage's site, I don't know if this is talking more broadly or not.
I think this one might be more broad, Matt, because we had discussed it. I want to say it was about a year ago. We kind of talked about Union Park, the differences between Union Park West and Union Park East, where Union Park West also had a pond and a possible area for a pocket park in that section as well.
Yeah, so there is still an area carved out. We are currently working with Travis County, as was alluded to earlier by Chrissy, on Colton Bluff as well as Union Park Drive. So we're hoping for those connections and improvements to those roadways to be taking place next year. I know the plans are currently in design and being reviewed with Travis County. So as soon as that roadway network firms up, there are a couple of pocket parks per se that we'll be looking to program at that time.
Okay, great. And then our final question this evening, the irrigation schedule in Union Park East is unnecessary as the pocket parts are literal swamps due to the amount of watering. Can this be adjusted? And again, we addressed this earlier with the fact that the irrigation is turned up at this point due to the install. Now, if we have some overwatering that is happening, then certainly we'll take a look at that and talk with, see what we could do to get that adjusted back. So we'll evaluate what's going on there. I had one more question pop up just now, and since we have some time, we'll go ahead and answer it. COVID makes many community perks completely useless. How is it that dues go up while benefits go down? And I'm going to ask Matt to help me answer this. But go ahead, Matt. I'm going to turn this over to you, Matt C.
Yeah, so I would say that I don't completely agree with that statement. The union is still open. The union would still be operating, whether with or without COVID. The gym is still accessible, and Colette is still putting on events, several events a month, and she might not be able to have as many people residents join those events, but she's making up for that by trying to add more events every single month to the calendar, things that could be done virtually and in small groups. So, like I said, I don't agree with that statement. I understand the frustration, but at the same time, that Colette and the rest of that team is really trying to put their best foot forward and provide an enjoyable experience for everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. And so with that, we have reached the final question submitted tonight during this town hall. We appreciate everyone who's attended and who gave input, suggestions, and comments for letting us put this town hall together, and then everything that was submitted during. So again, thank you all for coming. We hope you have a wonderful night. And if we don't see you before the holidays coming up, we hope you have a wonderful one. And if we can do anything to help, please reach out. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.